Welcome everyone. Today we will be discussing the feasts of the Lord, which are mentioned in the Bible as holy convocations or festivals. These three annual feasts are Passover, Pentecost, and Feast of Tabernacles. And they bring joy and importance to the Hebrew faith according to the lunar calendar. The new year starts on March 10th, 2024, followed by 14 days, which starts Passover March 24th, 2024, followed by the 15th day of unleavened bread, and through to the 31st of March 2024. Online for Passover, they have it in the evening of Monday, April 22nd, 2024, through Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. Remember, we are not of the world. These dates are not according to Yahshua, as he tells us the law of the moon. The Hebrew word for holy is Kodesh. This root word, in simpler terms, means to be set apart. Yahshua calls us to be different. The significance of the new moon in Bible times is that it marked the beginning of a new month. New moons mark the beginning of months in the lunar-based Hebrew calendar, and also signified when the Israelites were to bring sacrifices to Yahshua. The first annual feast is Passover, and it commemorates the release of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. It takes place in the first month, on the 14th day of the month after the new moon. This festival is observed by all followers of Yahshua, and it involves a meal, remembering the Exodus story and the breaking of the bread. All leaven, whether in bread or other mixture, is prohibited, and only unleavened bread should be eaten, called matzo. Throw all yeast bread away during these times. Next is Shavuot, also known as Pentecost. This feast celebrates the giving of the Torah in the wilderness, 40 days after leaving Egypt. Shavuot is marked by a feast day. Everyone gather to share a meal, read the Torah, and give thanks to Yahshua. Lastly, Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles, symbolizes the sanctification of the land and the building of the temple. The followers build a temporary booth or tent and celebrate with prayers, songs, and a feast. Make sure you have your palm trees available. These festivals are significant as they remind the Israelites of Yah's grace and His continuous love for His people. They also serve as a reminder of the church, the bride journey, as we too are called to live like Yahshua in a world full of challenges and difficulties. There are 6 days when you may work, but the 7th day is a day of Sabbath rest, a day of sacred assembly. You are not to do any work. Wherever you live, it is a Sabbath to Yah, which is Saturday of every week. Keep the Sabbath day holy, which is the 4th commandment. In conclusion, the feasts are all broken up into 7 days and are essential parts of the Hebrew Israelites' faith, and they bring people together to celebrate, learn, and grow in their understanding of Yah's love and grace. Let us all strive to experience these feasts in our own lives and share the joy and connection they bring to our faith.
How many people do we have serving time for a crime that they did not commit? How many? For them, it was a matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong group of people. And parents, how many times have we warned our children not to hang around such and such because they were bad news? And even if they don't do what they did, they're going to be considered guilty by association. How many times has God said in His word to separate ourselves from the ways of the world? 14, 11 million times. This video is not about P. Diddy or T.D. Jakes' guilt or innocent. Trust me, God has spoken and He's going to have His last say. There is a reason why God told us to come out from among them. I don't care how high you go in ministry, you are not exempt from God's instruction and His order. Jesus didn't go over to the sinner's house to eat. They followed Him because they wanted to be delivered. And notice when I said delivered, it did not have a T at the end. Parents, we have consequences when our children don't listen to us. And some of y'all trying to act like God don't have the same. We remnant saints have been trying to warn y'all for the longest, but y'all got all in your feels and said that we were being judgmental and religious. Now look, God will remove his hand and allow you to feel the consequences of your poor choices, whether you're guilty of the allegations or no. It is a problem when you can have partnerships and friendships with a person, at least in time, not see that something in the milk ain't clean. Y'all better stop yelling, judge not, and read that entire chapter and start expecting the fruit.
When the sky is cracked and Jesus Christ comes again, and every eye will see him when he comes again. So
I did the clap to go church, and this was church.
Where's all the Kirk Franklin fans at? Well, let's get into this. You know, all the controversy with T.D. Jakes and everything surrounding that whole situation. I don't like to talk about ministers, but when I saw this video, Kirk Franklin backing it up on stage.
So many songs that have blessed people have been written butt naked. Next question.
And I listened to that about writing songs butt naked. I found a picture of him sitting in TGJ's lap, and I'm like, hold on a second. This is a guy that I've been listening to on our family trips, getting down in the car. And there he is, worshiping Jesus on stage. That don't look like worshiping Jesus to me. So I stand up for truth, and I call it like I see it. And Kirk Franklin, I don't know what you got going on, but in the past, I used to listen to some Kirk Franklin. And a matter of fact, it sounded like this. But now all I hear is this. And before you say I'm hating on the man, come on, what type of spirit are you operating in? Because to me, it looks like it's a performance. Doesn't look like worship. It's not glorifying the Lord. And I'm not even going to talk about T.D. Jakes, but people in the like minds hang out together. Spirits hang out with other spirits, if you know what I mean. And the more I watch
So
these
many
dance
songs
moves, listen.
that have blessed people have been written butt naked. Next question. Really? But not one sock on. Out straight out the bed. But if you come over to my house, don't sit on that piano bench. Sit on that piano bench. That piano bench ain't had nothing but cheeks. Piano bench. For Jesus. Next question.
Steve would probably say more about what I've taught him. Wow, what's been amazing is because Steve continues to say that when he was going through his transition, trying to find faith and trying to find moments in his life, he said, I said to him almost 20 years ago, as I said to him, Steve, the only difference between you and my world is that in my world, we wear a mask. That's the only thing, is we wear a mask, and then after Sunday, we take the mask off. Wow. It's the only difference. Right.
You know, Satan is as powerful as God. And that is the mentality that people have a lot of times when they're in service to fame, money, manpower. You start to feel like Satan is the most powerful. And you start to feel like if you service God, that in life, it means you will not prosper. And the only way to prosper is in service to fame. And it, you know, it's like the devil stole all the good producers. The devil stole all the good musicians, all the good artists, all the good designers, all the good business people, and said, you got to come over and work for me. And now the trend, the shift is going to change. Jesus has won the victory. Because now I told you about my arrogance and cockiness already. Now, the greatest artist that God has ever created is now working for him.
Isaiah 49:16. Behold, I have indelibly imprinted or tattooed a picture of you on the palm of each of my hands. I thought, I'm going to get a tattoo that says I belong to Jesus. And so, long story short, 2 weeks ago, I got tattooed on my shoulder. I have a nice little cross back there, and it says, I belong to Jesus. And just for good measure, I put love on my foot to remind me to walk in love.
Staggering amount of satanic Hollywood sellouts, all paying respect to their Lord and Master, all doing the same thing over and over and over again. And this really should help wake people up, right? This is a ridiculous amount of fallen angel worship and an overwhelming amount of evidence, ladies and gentlemen. Now, some of you may recognize a lot of these people, some may not, right? But the point will be made clear that these people are not to be put on pedestals and worshipped like the fallen angels before them, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden. You know, Alice Cooper. I did a 3-part series on him, right? And that freak Marilyn Manson and his sellout Goonies buddy. And Princess Leia. Yeah. Janet Jackson. Prince. Muhammad Ali. I also found one with Muhammad Ali in a very clever photograph with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hey, Arnold doesn't care about your freedom. Don't forget that, ladies and gentlemen. Ronnie James Dio. I saw him twice, so I could easily do a video on Ronnie James Dio. Robert Downey, the Iron Mason of Hollywood. I did a video on him, check that out. Let's see. Oh, Keith Richards. That shouldn't shock anybody. There's no way you get the longevity he had without selling your soul. This wrestling personality here, Rhea Ripley, I believe it is. She's making it very clear. Hunter, oh, he's something. Now, if you look him up, you'll find that he admitted to selling his soul. Charlie Sheen, do you think he's still winning, ladies and gentlemen? All right, we'll zip through some of these real fast here. Look at this. Osiris risen on speed dial, just to show you how ridiculous this is. All right, Michael Jackson. Johnny Depp. I watch my Alice Cooper Exposed series. In part 2, you'll see everything you need to know about the satanic sellout, Johnny Depp. King Diamond from back in the day, ex-lead singer of Merciful Fate. You don't need to make a video about him. He's already an admitted Satanist. Poppy. I don't know who Poppy is. Just another puppet, ladies and gentlemen. Just like Hugh Jackman. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is no different. So on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. Just more speed dial. Look at this. Madonna. Dee Snider. Oh, Bon Jovi. David Bowie. JK. Of course she's a witch, ladies and gentlemen. Right? She made her name on writing books about witchcraft. Shouldn't be a shock. All of your Hollywood celebrities, ladies and gentlemen. All of your Hollywood favorites. Right? Kiss. Check out Gene Simmons. Right? Paul Stanley. Peter Criss. Ace Frehley.
enough.
The card shows the face of a man that clearly resembles Trump. Again, I don't think this was a coincidence, as even The Simpsons previously predicted Trump would become president. Like I said before, in my opinion, I believe our presidents are chosen well in advance. Like I've already revealed previously, all but 2 US presidents and the royal family are all related and part of the same family tree. All members of the royal family are Masons, and so are the presidents who run our country. This card, Charismatic Leader, also seems to point to Trump being president, showing a blonde-headed man addressing a large crowd. These cards didn't predict Trump being president. It just showed that Trump being president was always a part of the plan since day one. We are only 3 cards in, but it's already hard to deny that Steve somehow had insider knowledge on what was going to happen in the future. The next card we're going to be talking about is the Epidemic card, which, just like the first 2 cards, I can't say exactly what this card is referring to, but you guys should already know just by looking at it. If you guys are still not sure, I will give you guys a hint. It happened during 2020. The card shows a drawing of medicine needles and a bunch of green body bags with the word quarantine written across it. Another card that seems to point to this very incident is the Center for Disease Control card. This card depicts a scientist in a lab accidentally creating a deadly virus that ends up getting out. This is very interesting, and it sounds like just what I believe ended up happening in real life, except for it was no accident. Again, very interesting imagery, especially since these cards are supposed to be moves used to bring in the New World Order. The fact that these cards came out in the 90s and have already predicted 4 very important events should already let people know that there's way more to these cards. Another card we need to talk about is the March on Washington card, which again, I can't say what this card is referring to, but you guys should already know what this card is referring to. This card predicted an event that took place on January 2021 and caught the world by storm. Just like the other incidents that happened on this list, this card game proves that even that incident was planned well in advance. It also makes it clear that those who participated in the march were manipulated to do so. It proves that the Masons love being on both sides in order to control both sides. What most people don't understand is that dividing the people is part of the New World Order plan.
Do not need me to tell you that the eyes and hopes of the world are upon you, to act with all dispatch and decisively, because time has quite literally run out. The scale and scope of the threat we face call for a global systems-level solution based on radically transforming our current fossil fuel-based economy to one that is genuinely renewable and sustainable. So, ladies and gentlemen, my plea today is for countries to come together to create the environment that enables every sector of industry to take the action required. We know this will take trillions, not billions of dollars. We also know that countries, many of whom are burdened by growing levels of debt, simply cannot afford to go green. Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at its disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect, beyond even the governments of the world's leaders. It offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition.
Camilla's coronation may be over, but there's one moment from the ceremony that caught people's attention. Onlookers are convinced they spotted the Grim Reaper of Westminster Abbey as guests are arriving to the historic event. In the video, a hooded figure in all black can be seen walking across the aisle holding a long stick. The quick moment had royal fans talking on Twitter, with one user writing, "Anyone else just noticed the Grim Reaper at Westminster Abbey?" with another tweeting, "Why is the Grim Reaper of the coronation celebrations?"